Hello, and welcome to the first ever WoW Dig Site podcast. This is the admin of WoWDigSite.com speaking, Uriah. Today we're going to have Boshi on the show, who has the world first 32 rares, and Morpsend, who you may know from the Battle.net or MMO Champion forums, who also has 31 rares complete. He's working on his last rare right now. So welcome.
Hello.
Why we're here today is we all love archaeology a lot, and one person in particular deserves some recognition, and that's Mr. Boshi here. He is Mr. World First person in the world to complete every single artifact. So we wanted to come together and let Boshi have a chance to tell the world about how he did it. So, welcome, Boshi.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good having you.
So, Boshi, you want to go ahead and tell us all about how you started out with archaeology and just tell us the process about when you first started?
When I had initially started archaeology, I was just addicted to professions in general. I didn't really know much about it. I didn't know what it would be like. I don't play on PTR or anything, but as it rolled out, I initially didn't like it too much. It wasn't for me, but as the game grew boring and I ran out of things to do, I started picking it up, and from there it just became a passion that wouldn't die. It's something that once you start doing it, you just can't quit. And I initially started out, trying to get a particular 85 rare, that same way most people did. And
Right.
as I continued doing it, I found there was much more to it that kept me coming back. The feeling of is the next solve going to be the one that gives me the thing that I need. It's that constant feeling that you're chasing while you're doing it. And after a while, I branched out online and I started trying to find other people who had the same passion for this profession that I did. And I met Morp, and I eventually met Uriah, and it all kind of culminated into this. And I think we've gotten to know each other, and we've all tried to help further the archaeology community and push ourselves further, and I've enjoyed it a lot.
Nice. Tell us about the actual grind. I mean, did you enjoy it? Did you find it frustrating?
Well, obviously, there are times where you're going to get frustrated. You do, 50 solves in a row for a particular race, and you're not getting what you want. So there were always times where I was downtrodden and I was finding it hard to continue, and that kind of lessened a lot as as Morp and I were talking online at 4 a.m, both drunk as hell, sitting there continuing to dig. But yeah, there were always times where I would get so depressed that I had to shut the game off and go sleep for 12 hours and come back and start my whole 13-hour dig session again.
Well, was there a certain point in the process of you digging where you made the decision to go for full completion?
Yeah, initially, like I said, I was trying to get a particular item, and then from that it turned into, oh well, I'm just going to go until I get the bug mount and the alchemy recipe, and then it turned into, I'm just gonna go one more, and then as I had gone online and I had found other people, I actually realized, how lucky I was with my solves and how far I had progressed compared to other people in the community. And I decided, actually, it was right about the time Morp and I met, when I was 23 out of 26 and he had 25, and I just decided, I'm gonna keep trying to do this, and I'm gonna go for world first until someone else gets it. And then just no one got it, and I just got lucky.
Yeah, I really have to say, competing with you near the end there was what really made the entire experience a lot more fun.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a neck and neck race going down right to the end.
Well, and damn you for beating me.
Yeah.
Well, the RNG god smiled upon him, so.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I still say if I'm aiming to get my 30-second rare and double your solve count. That's just my luck.
I fully believe it will happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, what kind of mods and stuff did you use to help you out?
Initially, I had just started doing archaeology without any mods, and that was probably a lot of the reason that I grew bored with it. I think the way that Blizzard just has archaeology without any of the minimap additions or any pop-ups. It makes it very hard to do it, continuously without getting bored of opening all these menus. So I went out and did some searching, and I found Archie, which was a godsend. I absolutely loved that add-on. I don't know if I would have gone as far as I did without using it. It really makes life so
Archie
simple.
is the bomb.
Well,
sure.
for me, I just like double right-clicking, the survey. Same with
Oh yeah,
searching.
definitely. I
Yeah,
mean, that
quick click.
I would
completely.
install a mod just
saved
for
time.
that. That was my
Yeah.
motivation to go find Archie, basically. But everything else is just a friggin' bonus. But yeah, the
Yep.
minimap, all that stuff, is great. So
Yeah, that is definitely the one hidden secret of Archie that does set it apart from everything else.
Most definitely. And as I kept going and I progressed further and further, as I got north of 22, 23 solves, I started looking for something that would give me a good idea of what I had left and things like that. And I turned to ArcDB at first, which it was nice, but it wasn't really what I was looking for my personal setup. And when I found WoW Dig Site, I learned about Excavationator, which was perfect for what I needed. So right up to the end, I was using Archie and Excavationator a lot.
Nice. Now, how about any guides? Did you ever find use of any guides or anything like that?
Some of the guides that were on MMO Champs were very good for starting out. The stickies that they have on the professions page are excellent for people that are just looking for specific information on exactly what the profession's about and the little mechanics and quirks of it that can make it unique. So I went to that for my initial startup, and as I really got into it, I didn't really find the need for a whole lot of guides, but a lot of the ones on MMO are very nice for little questions that people might have.
Nice. If you had to give one tip to everyone out there that's doing archaeology to help them get a rare or anything like that, what would you tell them?
Don't turn to alcohol. It's gonna be the end of you. I promise.
it's got to keep going, right?
Yeah. You have to keep pushing without the crutch of alcohol.
Just find very repetitive music that you can
Yes,
just loop.
most definitely. Solitaire is perfect. I think I played something like 2,300 games of Solitaire 1 week.
Nice. YouTube's usually my crutch or something, so that's why it pays to have 2 monitors for this stuff.
Yeah, I'm all about listening to audiobooks. That's really been the one thing that's saved my sanity doing all this archaeology.
Listen to Harry Potter and get your rares.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I've listened to about 40 books. Just a warning out there about how long archaeology can take.
Well, that's why I try to tell people, this is not a cooldown. There's nothing to stop you. You can literally just keep doing archaeology. Unlike many other RNG things, like a farming a mount or something, you got lockouts, you got resets. Archaeology is just ongoing, so.
It is a never-ending beast.
Do you remember when you got Zenrock, how many solve counts it took you?
I do actually. It was 210.
210. See, I got it 176. I guess 2 of us are the 2 lucky people in the world.
Yes, that
Yeah.
seems like minuscule. Interesting.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely tiny.
And on the other hand, I have done, if I add up all the races in Kalimdor, I've done about 2,500 solves for this freaking staff from Tolvir. Still don't have it.
Very nice.
All right, well, Uriah, you want to talk about, let's talk about WoW Dig Site. Great website out there, everyone, just so you know.
Well, is there anything you two wanted to know specifically?
When are the forums going to be launched?
Well, we plan on doing that soon. You two have been helping with that, and I think they're coming along pretty well. They're pretty much ready, but yeah, we definitely want to fill them out a little bit more, and we're hoping the community, you listeners listening to this, will help out, and it'll be a centralized location for all archaeologists. I know some people are looking for that. You don't want your discussions and whatnot to be buried under all this other stuff in profession sections on Battle.net and MMO Champion. We're hoping to provide a home.
So Uriah, what made you want to initially start WoW Dig Site? Because I know I was looking for something separate from all the clustered stuff that would let me ask questions about archaeology. So like you said, it wouldn't get buried underneath all this stuff.
Right. I mean, WoW Dig Site started, I want to say, back in August 2010. I kept hearing about archaeology and all this stuff, but then when BlizzCon came along, they gave you a lot more details and whatnot, and I realized by the time BlizzCon was around, they're the only websites out there for archaeology. All their information was at least half a year old. And I thought, well, this is like a niche that no one else has really exploited or done yet, so I thought, well, what the heck, I'll make a archaeology website, give it a go, and it seemed like it was the only one for a good while there. We know WoW Digs is out there now, but for the most part, WoW Dig Site was the only up-to-date website, I think, out there for archaeology. So it started as something to do, really, and I do like archaeology. I don't think I'm as dedicated as you too, but I just haven't had that much time to put into it. I do plan to get all the rares too, so.
Congrats on your professor title, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I forgot. Congrats on that.
Felt kind of stupid running this website without at least my professor title, right? Had to get that.
You have a technical knowledge that we don't have, so your time was better spent.
That's what I mean.
Helping out the archaeology community.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were the selfish ones trying for.
Yeah,
personal
we were
glory.
just sitting here drunk at 2 a.m. hitting a dig button over and over.
Yeah, and I like websites. I've always done my guild websites. I used to run like a website from home, just been doing that for years, so thought, what the heck, make an archaeology site. Here we are today, making a podcast for it.
Yeah, the one thing I'm really looking forward to with WoW Dig Site is, especially with the podcast coming out, if I'm really excited about getting the word out, getting people involved, and anyone out there that's listening to this podcast, come check out the forums on WoW Dig Site and come talk with us. I know myself, I'm always around to talk, and if anyone has any questions, however simple or however technical about archaeology, I'd love to talk to you. And I'd love everyone else to come there too.
Right. And from the technical standpoint, forums, not a big issue. I've actually had forums installed on WoW Dig Site for a while. It's just, I did not know there's enough interest out there to really use them, but it seems there is, and I hope people do use them, and they're going to be there pretty soon. So probably by the time you guys are listening to this podcast, they will most likely be live to some degree. Feel free to register and find a home there.
Some other ideas that wanted to bust out, things that would like to see on the forums is a good guide. There's got to be at least 50 guides out there for archaeology, and I'd really like for us to set up the ultimate guide.
Yeah, you've mentioned having a very comprehensive guide. I mean, it's like Bashi said, you don't really need a guide for archaeology per se. It's pretty straightforward once you know the basics. But at the same time, according to your Archaeology Addicts Anonymous posts, there's not that many people, about 30, so yeah.
Yeah, I was actually pretty surprised at the number of people that were not. I really thought that, what I had done was absolutely nothing out of the norm. I thought there were people. I was, the whole time after I got 32 out of 32, I was expecting someone from Europe to be like, oh, I got that 2 weeks ago. What's wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there might be some people out there and they're just not active in the community, but we will never know. So until they get on there and participate, yeah.
Well, and on that note, if anyone out there has, any solves over, 27, 28, we'd love to talk to you about archaeology and your opinions on it and get your input on the profession, things like that, for the guides and the things that we're trying to write for the community.
Yeah, because we do plan on having the most comprehensive guide here soon. And we do have all kinds of information and stuff, but to organize that into one little book or post, whatever you want to call it, that is a goal. And let's talk about add-ons. I know pretty much everyone I know that does archaeology basically uses the Archie add-on. I think it's the most popular one, but there are basically 3 other popular ones out there. We got Excavationator. It's a phony word, so anyone can kind of pronounce it however they want to. But
Excavationator.
Yes, and we got archaeology helper add-on, which it adds like a HUD and such, but then we also have minimal archaeology add-on. And like I said, these seem to be the 4 most popular add-ons. So
I've always used Archie. I didn't even start using any mods until I got about 22 rares or whatever. Like I didn't even know that there were any out there.
Man, you
Um,
that long?
I was about 1,000 solves in.
I think I saw
Wow.
5 things. I'm like, okay, I need to go find a right-click function for this.
Yep, that's about how I was too.
Well, that's not true either, because I actually played it on the beta some. I forget what skill level I got up to, but and I made a key binding basically for survey, but yeah. So on live servers, I definitely went and sought out an add-on.
I have to cut in and say that uh, doing archaeology on the normal servers is fine, but the fact that you leveled archaeology on the PTR, you are a huge nerd.
Well, I did not max it out by any means, but I did it enough to get screenshots for the website and get a general feel for it. And I believe I made a very basic video, but things have changed since then. But yeah, so my friend had a beta account and he was kind enough to let me use it for that.
So what does archaeology helper add-on do?
It's kind of like Archie basically. I would compare it to Archie. It adds a HUD, which it's basically a green circle on your screen. If anyone's ever used Gatherer or any other add-on with a HUD, there's details on the website, but I still like Archie better. I personally don't use the HUDs very often. I think I used it once for Gatherer years ago, but that is out there if you do want it. So, and I know it actually has a database, so it's kind of like Gatherer. It'll actually know every location of every node for finding artifacts. So you can actually just like walk right up to what you think is going to be the point and then survey.
So just like Archie has, but does it have all the little sites already in it?
Well, yeah, and that is something Archie can do. It can mark your location when you do survey, but this thing you can actually preload a database.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. So, and I think you can with Archie too. It just doesn't have that as like an import feature. You would have to basically download someone else's saves. People like you two would actually probably have every location,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't have everyone already marked.
And honestly, if you do this long enough, you really just start recognizing a lot of the points, right?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's been many times where I land and I get a red at a certain angle, and there's like a choice of 5 different red dots on Archie up there, and just magically I know to fly 20 yards past those first 4 to go to that 5th, because that one always comes up.
Right.
There's just patterns that begin to emerge when you do it for hours upon hours on end.
I think I have that turned off on Archie. I might be turning that back on here soon, where it marks the X and such. But yeah, archaeology helper add-on, more or less you're going to use that one or Archie, it seems. And the other two, they can kind of work with them. Like you guys use Excavator. It'll have solve counts listed very well.
I think the best thing that I found about Excavationator is that it seems really great for when you're first starting out, and especially when you're working on getting the achievements, to get the certain solve the certain things or whatever.
Yeah.
Instead of having to load up your achievement page and see what's left, Excavationator, you can actually just click each race and it tells you every artifact for each race and tells you if you've completed it or not. So that's kind of a quick little cool thing about that mod.
Yeah, and it's a really simple mod. That's pretty much all it does. Probably use that to complement Archie or archaeology add-on helper,
Okay, how about minimal archaeology add-on? This is one that I've actually never used.
I would also compare this one to Excavator. So more or less you're going to use Archie or archaeology add-on helper. Then you're going to use one of these two, potentially. But you can basically view all your artifacts' progress. Archie kind of does this already. So if you don't like Archie and you just want a really basic Excavator style add-on, this one would probably be for you. And you can... No, that's pretty much it. It said you can check it out on the website. We got screenshots and whatnot, but it's a pretty simple view of your progress for your current project and whatnot.
All right. Well, while we're talking about add-ons, we might as well talk about macros.
Right.
The only three macros that I've ever really used are all about solve count, and the main reason I have those is the ability to, copy paste my solve counts to talk in threads, to make Bashi feel bad.
Yeah.
You do it well.
I try my best.
I mean, it seems all macros are basically just information output. There's
Yeah.
no real helpful macros. There's just macros to display stats. The most you can do is do a cast survey macro. And yeah, there's no secrets with macros in archaeology, in my opinion.
Well, I think one thing that I've haven't utilized, but I know that I should, is having the especially the total solve macro. That literally all it does is you click it and it tells you how many solves you've done.
Which you can convert to wasted, hours of life, right?
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
When trying to judge the time that you're spending during a day, archaeology has the tendency, and Bashi can attest to this, it has the tendency to just suck you in. You start at 8 in the morning, you're like, oh, I'm only going to do 10 solves. And then you start digging, next thing you know, you're 500 solves later.
Right, and the macro will help you track that. You can
Yeah.
make a mental note, okay, I'm at 2,200 and something, and now I'm at 2,800. Good Lord, I've been doing this all day, so.
Like, I'm going to do 15 solves, and then I'm going to force myself to go downstairs and eat.
There you go.
Every solve, you can click it to
Get some natural lighting, yeah. That there are add-ons. Like Hugh, I mean, he did all them rares and didn't use any add-ons. That's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have easily killed myself.
Well, I just don't like having a special binding for fishing or surveying. I think that's excessive.
Yeah, I actually had a separate hotbar that I had pulled up toward the middle of my screen that had my mount, my ghost wolf, my survey, my archaeology thing. I had all that stuff just sitting in the middle of my screen, so I could just fly somewhere and click, and then look at the TV, and
Right.
Well, you guys have seen screenshots of my screen. I don't use bartender. I don't use any other.
I don't think you got
big
enough room to.
Yeah. So every single button I have is used. Like, I can't really get rid of anything. So I love the fact that Archie had the double click, so I didn't have to macro a button.
Right. So I was wondering, I mean, how do you guys go about traveling with archaeology? I mean, I know it's a big topic. A lot of people choose to use the flight points or flight masters. Some people actually fly. I know it can depend upon which continent you're on. Kalimdor, for example, it's not very even. You can fly and you hit the invisible wall in the sky, basically. But I know in Eastern Kingdom, it's fairly flat. You can literally fly straight through and die of fatigue because you're tapped out of the game. But so how do you two get around? Like a mage would obviously port around a lot. Death Knights have their home ebb and hold, hearth. But for the average player, I mean, what do you two do?
Well, I think Bashi will agree with me that we hate the fact that we're not mages.
Yeah.
I have to say, it was really nice being a shaman. I had a hearth off of cooldown whenever I needed it, so it actually helped me out a lot to be able to, instantly just hearth and go get a portal. And if I was in Kalimdor, I would hit the Hajal portal to go north, or the Olden portal to go south, or if at the times I was in Eastern Kingdom, I could go to Twilight, or I could go to Stormwind, and from there fly from where I needed. So really having a hearth off cooldown made it such an easier experience.
Right, I mean, and mine's only 15 minutes, human, so I don't have any special perks, but with the guild thing, 15 minutes, that's pretty darn good. I mean, you might have 5 minutes where you gotta sit still and, actually get up and walk around maybe or something, but yeah, shamans, you got your second hearth going on, but, I mean, what else would you say about that?
Well,
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead. Actually, in all my times of reading threads and reading posts and just getting being a part of the archaeology community, the saddest post that I've ever read was somebody posting on MMO talking about archaeology, and I had to reread the thread like a couple times, and I realized that the person was complaining about how long travel time was in archaeology because they were not the smartest tool in the shed, and they were taking boats to go down to the South Kalimdor, whatever.
Interesting.
Like they just didn't realize that you can utilize certain tools to get you places faster. But thankfully, I sent him a tell, and I told him about using your hearthstones, using the dollar and ring, using the
Guild cloaks and all that.
guild cloaks, and those are the main things that you can do to hasten your archaeology. Now, the way that I've done it, I've spent most of my time in Kalimdor, and I was Horde on Moonguard, Morpsen, through that time. So basically, here's how I would go about my digging process.
Sure. Yeah.
I split up Kalimdor into two sections. There's north and there's south. Since Orgrimmar is on the north, you are easily accessible to Ashara and Mount Hyjal and Fellwood and Stone Talon Mountains, excuse me. So every 15 minutes with the guild perk, you can hearth to Orgrimmar, and then you can either fly to there or fly straight. And we'll talk about the difference between the two here in a sec. But also, one thing that so many people just forget to realize is that when you're in Orgrimmar, sorry, this actually deals with Eastern Kingdoms. When you're in Orgrimmar, or when you're in Stormwind, there is a portal to Blasted Lands.
Oh yeah, I utilize that one too.
Yeah, that's a big thing that people always seem to pass over.
Overlook, yeah.
Especially dealing with Eastern Kingdoms. You do have two hearths. You can hearth to Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and then you can take the portal to Blasted Lands. So if you're digging in Stranglethorn Vale, you port there and bam.
Good
and
old
also
Burning Crusade.
Great old Burning Crusade. And but this really only applies to people that are archaeologists in level 85. The biggest Eastern Kingdoms portal that you can take is you can hearth and you can go to Twilight Highlands, which is the perfect central point.
Yeah, I know a lot of people set their hearth there. Then they can easily back out and use like the Stormwind portals. I haven't had much experience on the Horde side, but I definitely use those portals in Stormwind to hop around the world. And for me, actually, I do have a second account. I know some other people do as well, and I actually have a 80 mage on that account. I thought about reactivating that account just so I can stick my mage in my, two-person flying mount, and I could just have this little mage with me the whole time to port me around, but I haven't done that yet. That is an option.
Let's talk about flight plans. Use flight plans or not use flight plans. Bashi?
I personally didn't. I had capped flying on this tune since before Wrath came out, so it wasn't really an issue for me. I didn't think about it, but for people that don't have capped out flying, they're doing archaeology on an alt maybe to get the pattern or something. It could be beneficial to take flight planes in certain situations. You just always have to look at where your dig sites are, where you're planning to hit, things like that. And it really helped me to, while I was flying from one particular dig site to another, I would sit there and plan out, what pattern would be the most beneficial for the most artifacts per hour or whatever. And you can't just always do the same thing over and over. You have to sit there and think about what's going to be best for whatever you're planning to do.
Oh yeah, it's purely situational, I think. There's hardly a time where I basically can't hearth back, there's hardly a time where it's not faster to simply hearth back, port back somehow, and take a portal, basically. I will only take a flight path, maybe if I'm walking away from the computer or something. Yeah, generally I just manually fly everywhere, but somewhere like Kalimdor, it would be more appealing to potentially use a flight pass so you don't have to deal with the up and down with the flying in that area. So there's options, but I know a lot of people generally don't use the flight pass.
one thing that we we have to acknowledge is that not everyone that's doing archaeology has the 310 flying mount. Not everyone is even level 85.
Right.
So, but just the biggest tip that I can give anyone,
level up to 85.
yeah, level up to 85, and also buy your epic flying, buy the 310 flying speed, and that literally will be the biggest time saver that you can have.
Oh yeah, because all the flying you're gonna do, even if it's a small percentage, it's definitely gonna help you in the long run. Solve 3,000, you could be able to solve 4,000. Well, maybe not that, but you get the idea.
I'll be on 4,000 here soon.
I think I have like 400, maybe. I think it was 300 actually.
Oh, you have 300. Nice.
So you're only 10 times ahead of me. I got a little bit of catching up to do. What is Bashi up to? I don't think I've heard his total. Yeah, what's like your total solve count right now?
Well, I mean, it honestly has not moved since the screenshots that I sent you, so it should still be sitting at 2075.
What was it? 2075?
Yep.
Oh, I had it backwards in my mind. I thought it was 2057.
You still haven't got that rare.
Trust me, I love Bashi to death now, but he haunts my dreams. I know his numbers probably better than he does.
Well, that just shows you the RNG factor to a degree.
All right, well, let's talk about RNG. Let's talk about the math of archaeology, the speculations about archaeology.
Boy.
This big white elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Okay, Bashi, I want you to talk about all of these massive amounts of posts that we read of people pretending to know, just making stuff up. Just what is it about all these posts?
Well, I don't know. I guess anyone's going to be driven to try to solve something. So obviously, completely random. There's dozens upon dozens of posts. People out there thinking they've figured out what the secret to archaeology is, or if you do solves in this particular manner, it'll assist you in getting a rare. But I think all the math that people have posted only helps further the idea that it's as random as a computer system can get. There's nothing you can do that's going to help you one way or another with getting the item that you want.
All right, I'm an avid reader of posts on MMO and Battle.net, and hopefully soon only WoWDigSite.com. Praying to God.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. But there's so many people out there in the World of Warcraft world that just are so frustrated with archaeology, and so many people are speculating about this hidden math, this hidden procedure that Blizzard has implemented into the game, and I don't know. I just would love to get Uriah's idea on it and your idea on it.
I think it's all hogwash or whatever. I mean, unless a blue comes out and confirms anything, people, this ties into theory crafting, they can only get so precise. But still, it's never 100%, I don't think. And with archaeology, it's really RNG. There's not been any solid method that has been posted, that can scientifically be tried and tested to actually work. So, yeah, I don't read much into that, basically, for that reason.
Yeah, most of my stuff, while I was doing it, even myself, I was thinking, there's got to be some hidden math behind this. It's just going to unlock the key that's going to make it easier for everyone. So while I was doing it, I would look at solve count for a particular race compared to total solve count, solving on particular number variables, hundreds, 150s, things dealing with multiples of other things. And I mean, nothing ever panned out. The more I solved, the more I realized that there is absolutely no math behind it.
And I think for one reason this is like a loud subject, so to speak, is because, this is a secondary profession. Everyone in the game can do this. Everyone in the game has probably tried this at some point. Unlike, let's say, mount farming again, another RNG thing. You do that, if it's a raid boss, once a week, or 4 days, whatever the lockout is, and then you're done with it. But not a lot of people don't do that. But like I said, there's this archaeology's a lot bigger than just like mount farming, I think, and thus people are really trying to figure it out, but I don't think they will. Basically,
I think the majority of the posts that are up out in the world are more of people frustrated and trying to blame something else for them stopping digging and spending their time on farms bitching.
well, and people focus on one item. That's something I've
Yeah.
never done. I know that's how a lot of people might start the profession, but I I never fixated on something because I have no control over that. You know, that ties back to real life things. If I don't have control over it, I'm not going to sit there and pester about it or whatever. Got to keep doing it until it does.
Well, Bashi, throughout your entire experience with doing archaeology, did you have any inkling of any little time during the process of digging that you felt that you can change anything?
Oh no, I mean, initially when I started out, like I said, like everyone else, I wanted one particular item, and then as I kept doing it, I realized the more you fixate on one thing, the more annoying that the profession is going to become, and you just kind of have to sit back and realize that what you're doing is something that's going to take either a lot of luck or a lot of time, and I mean, the more you try to force it, the more you're going to get annoyed with it, and the more you're going to get frustrated at the fact that you're not getting the thing that you want. So it's really something that you have to either do in your off time or go at completely understanding that you're either going to get lucky or you're not.
Yeah, it really does come down to dedication.
So, I mean, you've heard the stories where people get Baron's mount first try or something, or it's like some people run Molten Core to get Thunder Fury or the Eye of Ragnaros. Same
Yeah,
concept.
I don't want to talk about Eye of Ragnaros. I still hate that item.
It's like me, I have half of the Windseeker bindings, so every week I go in there and do my Molten Core, try to get my other piece, but same with archaeology, but you just don't stop with archaeology. There's nothing to cut you off, so you
exactly.
can just keep going.
There is no cutoff point. It's a never ending.
Yeah, unless your power dies, unless you fall asleep, there's no cutoff point. So.
Well, you guys, I'm a priest. I can't even equip Thunder Fury, and I have it.
Yes.
I'm the asshole that everyone talks about.
Nice. I have one of my bindings, and I've been sitting on the epic hammer, just needing Eye of Rag for something like 5 months of running MC every week.
I have my sulfurous chilling, and I've run Molten Core for 3 years. I don't have it too. I can't even equip it. I'm a priest.
It's terrible.
It is terrible.
Well, you still get the achievement, but yeah, I mean, I'll happily be equipping mine. So.
Oh, that's a sad thing. I can't get the achievement. I can't equip it.
That'll join my little RP outfit I got going on with the chef hat and stuff. So.
Yeah, I'm personally obsessed with RP outfits as well. I have a full 60 tier 1 set and a full 70 tier 6 set.
I don't know, but I keep all my stuff, so. Like every piece of tier, I keep that in the bank just for whatever. I got my original tier 1 and all that, so. But yeah, need to work out an archaeology suit, and I do plan on posting it on the website pretty soon. People are listening to this, we'll have some outfit ideas for people to like to do that stuff, so look forward to that. Alright, well, I want to thank you too. We got Morpsend here, we got Bashi with us tonight, and this is Uriah, the WoW Dig Site admin speaking. I wanted to thank these two guys for coming on here for our first podcast, and I'm glad you two found the website. I'm glad we got to do this, and for those of you that are listening, we're going to try to do this about once a month, I think. We'll have to get some feedback from the podcast, and we're, WoW Dig Site's accepting any ideas you think that should be on the podcast. Be able to post about those on the forums or the contact page as always. And like I said, look for the forums to be active either when this is released or right afterwards. As always, just check the news page. That information will be up there. We got Facebook, Twitter. You can follow WoW Dig Site. Any news update is posted there, just like on the website. Like I said, we plan to expand into the community with this forum. Be glad to have you on there. Hear what you have to say about the profession. Hear your trials and tribulations, or how many Red Bulls you go through, whatever keeps you going.
Or beers.
Yes, or beers. So, again, Boshy, thanks for coming on.
No, of course.
I mean, what's next for you, man? You got 32 rares, now what?
Oh, I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna forget about how much I loathe the time I spent on archaeology. I'm probably gonna check into an alcohol rehab facility, and hopefully by the time they release some new rares, I will be sober and ready to delve back into my alcoholism.
Yeah, help that economy, so.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you, Morpson? I know you're looking forward to the forums. You gonna be trolling us on there, you think?
Well, I'm really looking forward to the next patch that gets more rare, so then I can be the next world first. Because
The reset button, kinda. Yeah.
I mean, I've gained a friend in Bashi here, but I've gained a real competitor, somebody that's dedicated like me, and I will beat you next time.
Oh, it's definitely on.
Oh, it's been on.
And this ties back into your Archaeology Addicts Anonymous posts. You know, there are others out there with 20 plus rares. There are others trying to get this, so hopefully they can migrate over to the WoW Dig Site forums. We'll have to see where that goes. So, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the patch as well. We don't have any word on anything new in 4.2 yet, but again, stay tuned to the news and we'll be sure to report on that as soon as we hear anything.
And for any links that we've discussed during this podcast, they will all be listed in our post.
Yes. This I actually plan to try to add this to iTunes, so for all you with the iPods and like the automated download and whatnot, I will have this podcast out on every popular medium that I can think of. So thanks again for listening, and this is Uriah, your dig site admin, and thanks again you too. So that's it.
And this is Morpsen.
Yes.
The best tip here that I can give everyone out there is just keep digging. It
Chugging
will
along.
come. Yeah.
For your motivation, visit the forums and talk with fellow peers. So
Thank y'all for having me on, and hopefully I'll be adding many more names to my Archaeology Addicts Anonymous post. I hope everyone out there enjoys the professions, the future changes, and the future additions.
all right.